Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the session today. It is my absolute pleasure to have Vikas Yogi with us today. Vikas is also very popularly known as Auto Yogi. Auto because he is one of the top automobile journalists in India. And Vikas is also the co-founder and editorial head of India Car News, who I mean, it's such a great thing to know that their YouTube channel has very recently crossed 500K plus followers. Congratulations on that, Vikas, and thank you so much for taking out time for the session today.
Thank you so much for a lovely introduction. I don't think I could have planned it better. Though I'm more into content, but I just can't say such good things about myself. So yeah, thank you so much for those words.
My pleasure. Because so to start with, we have been reading so many news articles on how digitization has taken over every industry in India, specifically after the
Right.
lockdown started in India, right? So the 2020 has been like the era of digitization in India,
Correct.
globally as well. But given that we are going to focus more on how the automobile industry has changed India in 2020, my question for you is, we are living in a time when everybody would want to have very quick access for their emails. Everybody wants to know what's happening on their social media, just fearing the FOMO that's going around. And keeping the digital
Right.
demand in mind, a lot of Indian automobile industries are coming out with, these features for their cars and for their vehicles. So, what is your take on
Right.
that? How do you think is the demand and supply when it comes to this?
So, of course, I mean, there is demand, and automobile industry has been catering to it, pretty nicely. So, it's about any change in the core technology sector
Uh-huh.
that usually reflects upon every other industry, and
Mm-hmm.
automobile is one of the first ones to adopt this, I guess. Be it the connected car technology, we did not have the internet earlier, but
Right.
now we can't live without internet. So a car also has to have the internet connectivity all the time. So that's been happening. We have connected cars now. I think in 2019 it started for all of us. There were some expensive cars coming in; they were connected and stuff. But more mass segment cars, they started rolling out these connected car technology features in 2019 and 20, and now it has become a selling point. So a lot of
Okay.
these mass segment cars, be it like some Hyundais are offering it,
Hmm.
even Tata is offering it now. They are coming up with their own version of connected car technology features,
Right.
and you have MG that did really well because of this connected car technology, and they promoted it so well. So I
Yeah.
think, like I said, if you have the automobile industry resonates basically everything that is happening in the core technology sector, or anyway all the changes that are happening. So I believe that's that.
Great. So, talking of the automobile industry, I don't think we can miss out the conversations on Ubers and Ola in India. Very recently, we have seen this exponential rise in the demand for Uber and Ola, at least up till 2020 beginning, is what I could say. But
Right.
Uber and Ola
Right.
do not necessarily own any set of vehicles for themselves. They have a set of drivers who comes with their own vehicles. So, do you think this exponential
Correct.
rise of companies like Ubers and Olas have affected the way cars are sold in the Indian market? Do you think people prefer using these vehicles instead of buying their own cars?
So it's a for me it's a mixed bag basically.
Hmm.
So yes, these companies we call them what do you call them? Taxi services basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
taxi services.
yeah.
Yeah,
So these taxi services company come into picture. So we already had some taxi services earlier, but now with the with applications becoming more and more friendly, and people can easily book the cars and stuff. So that's they have seen that rise, of course. And as you rightly mentioned, they were doing pretty all right till the beginning of 2020, because 2020 kind of changed the whole game,
right.
because the pandemic came, and we became as commuters, we became a little skeptical
Hmm.
before about sharing our cabs, or probably using the same cab that other people are using. So
Correct.
that kind of changed the whole strategy a little bit, and probably slowed down these taxi services, Ubers and Olas, or anyone, and even the self-driving cars, because when people were using it, I mean, the same people are using it again and again. So we are in the middle of pandemic. So yeah, of course, I mean that which is decision. I think post-pandemic things have happened. In fact, opposite to what we were expecting. So lot more people were going for personal mobility, because that became a thing. I need my own vehicle. Because of course, because of the virus itself, and people started exploring used car market. People are exploring the new car market. Even the entry level market boomed, kind of boomed. Because automobile industry was among the first ones to bounce back right after the lockdown was lifted.
Correct.
Because then people wanted their cars, they wanted their vehicles, two-wheelers in specific, say. So I think overall strategy for these Olas and Ubers have changed, of course. Even as commuters, as buyers, we have become more cautious. But I think it'll bounce back once we are back on track. Things are going to be better for these self-drive vehicles and these taxi services, because that's where we are going. Yeah.
Okay. So the graph is going to take a good rise in the near future.
I hope so, because that's where we are going, especially in the metropolitan cities that we live in. We don't want to own cars because of the expenses and stuff. And when you're starting, so youngsters, when they start their job, that's not their first priority. The first priority is to settle down and stuff. Probably start making some money. So that's where the Uber and Olas come into picture.
Absolutely. So talking of the future, today, which is in the second week of January 2021, I read an article where it said that Tesla is finally coming to India. They're going to have their operational unit set up in India finally. I see there's quite an excitement about it, but a lot of people are also a bit perplexed as to how AVs or how the self-driving vehicles are going to work for the Indian market. What is your take on that?
So we can't deny the fact that that EVs are going to be the future, because huge investments and billions of dollars are at stake. All the major companies have invested into EV technology, so that's going to be there. Yes, it becoming the mainstream might take some time, at least when you talk about the Indian market. Though the government is pretty serious about it, and they want like by the 2030 they want probably 25-30% cars to be electric. But that's a big claim, I believe. But that is, of course, I mean, sooner or later that is going to happen, because the investment is going into that direction. So it has to happen. Also, the fossil getting more expensive, so we are going into that direction.
Right.
Tesla coming into India is a big news, of course, because that's where the whole culture of EV will start shaping up. Yes, we have manufacturers already working here. Tata Motors has been selling their electric vehicles. Mahindra has been selling their electric vehicles. But now with the biggest manufacturer coming into India, which is known for EV itself. So the whole ecosystem will, start shaping up, because then they'll need local vendors, and local vendors will become more proactive. More investment will come into infrastructure and stuff, because so that changes the whole game, and that's where I think will be the beginning of India's EV journey. Yes, it might take some time, say about 20, 25 years, 30 years, but yeah, it will eventually happen.
Okay, that's good to know. So, talking of the relation between the customers and the sellers, there was a time when people just relied on the salesperson of a showroom to know about the feature of a newly launched vehicle, right? But gone are those days. Now people have several options where they can just sit in front of the internet, maybe open YouTube, come across 5 bloggers who are reviewing a specific vehicle. So do you think the demand and supply has changed because people have access to the internet connectivity and people have access to such information online? Or do you think people still rely on the salesperson, and they still have some kind of an emotional credibility when they hear it from a human?
So basically, there are two things to it. One is people are still going to the dealerships to check out the vehicles, themselves. I mean,
Right.
they need that personal thing, they want to go check out how the quality is and stuff and everything.
Absolutely.
The thing that has changed is basically the flow of the information. Earlier, it used to be a manufacturer, bringing out a car, probably some limited magazines or newspapers doing it, and people used to watch these advertisements in newspapers and magazines, and then go to the showroom. Then the sales guy takes over and explains
Right.
everything.
Right.
Now we come into picture, people like us who are digital creators, or people like us who are bloggers, or specialized bloggers, basically doing that thing, automotive thing. So that is so we now come into picture, because now people start relying on us. They trust our reviews because it's got a more personal connect, because we don't come from a traditional background. So that one thing has also changed the whole scenario, because people feel more connected to people who look like them, and they talk like them and stuff. So that's where we come into picture, and that's where the flow of information is happening.
Right.
Also, I think unlike earlier, I think more than 50% people are relying upon internet research. They first go on they go on Google or any other research platform, on YouTube, anywhere. They first research about the product. So half of their buying journey is already completed online. So they have come to the conclusion, these are the two vehicles that they're going to check out.
Right.
Earlier, it used to be you have a lot of vehicles, so that has definitely changed. In fact, Google itself says that half of the buyers in India are now relying upon internet reviews and internet research or classifieds, basically, and then they're going to the showroom. So basically they are smarter now because of the flow of the information, and it's easily available.
Right. No, that clarifies my question very clearly. So Vikas, speaking of you as a digital creator, you are the one who comes up with such interesting videos reviewing different vehicles. So if I were to ask about how was your journey with India Car News, or what was your motivation behind starting the organization? Because today your YouTube channel has 500K plus followers, and that's a huge number. So how did you manage to reach there?
So honestly, I didn't plan to start a YouTube channel. This whole thing started with Jio, because everybody now wanted videos. So we were not a traditional, but we were bloggers, basically, because blogging is not traditional. But we're kind of doing only internet text only reviews, and we were doing all right. We are still doing all right there. But then Jio came in, and people now wanted videos, and their consumption, their content consumption now changed. That thing changed, basically. They wanted more videos than the text content. When it comes to reviews, basically, and it's of course easier as well. I mean, when you have cheaper internet plans, you have cheaper data, then it's easier for you to simply go watch a video than to read. I mean, that's the thing with I think the newer generation, I believe.
Correct.
So indiacarnews.com, the website was doing all right. Jio came in, and we had to, of course, get into videos. I was always into creative side of the thing, so adapting to videos was not a problem. Of course, understanding the whole platform, the YouTube platform, was slightly difficult for me initially, because I didn't know what to do, what not to do, what would work, what not to work, what would not work. So then I sat with the team and decided, let's not focus on how the SEO works, especially for the YouTube, because we've been doing it for the website already. We don't want to get into that the whole thing again. So let's create content that nobody is doing. So we started creating premium Hindi automotive content that nobody was doing in the country. So there were good English channels. There are still good English channels, but Hindi, nobody was focusing on production quality and the whole thing, basically. So that's how we came into picture, and people started appreciating it. That there is somebody who's doing content in Hindi and is also taking care of the production quality. It's not a side thing, because Hindi used to be the side thing. Like English, there is a channel. If you want to do Hindi content, it has to be okay, no production quality, nothing like that. So that's how it worked for us, I guess.
Yeah, because people were not very sure how many followership or how many viewership would one get if we speak of only Hindi platforms. But things have changed now. This is a time when regional content is getting more traction than the English content. So because given the fact that you
Right.
have been in the digital blogging space for quite some time, I come across so many people who want to become influencers in the future. And these are youngsters, these are
All right.
millennials. What is one advice that
Yeah.
you would want to give them so that they do not do things that they are not supposed to be doing? Because this is a very new thing, right? So what is one piece of
Right.
advice that you would want to give for the youngsters who want to see themselves as influencers?
All right. So the first piece of advice, to every young creator out there is don't try to be influencers
Mm-hmm.
because you don't become influencers basically like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have good content, if you're then you automatically kind of influence people. So influencers were already there in the past as well. So like my previous generation, the previous review was that my ex boss or probably his bosses and stuff. So they were already influencing people. So
Right.
influencer is not a new term, and it's a marketing term. So don't go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Create good content, create useful content that you think that nobody is doing. If you start copying content because you want to kind of get the same sort of traction that somebody else is going, then you're not going to make it, because somebody's already doing that and reached a level. You want to reach that level following the same footstep, I believe. So probably do some fresh content, probably do some new content, because we are the biggest advantage that we have in India is that we are a country of 1.3 billion, and you can find your own niche and just work for that. I mean, that's about it.
Right. That's a lovely answer. So for all the youngsters out there who want to have their own space, build that own space, know what you're interested in, and we are sure that you will be on the right path. Thank you so much, Vikas, for your time. It was a very intriguing session for me. I learned about such interesting things about the automobile industry.
Thank you so much for having me, and
I really hope we can call you again and have some interesting discussions on what the future of some other things are going to be.
Absolutely. Even if it's non-automotive, I would love to be a part of it because I'm a content creator. Yes, I'm an automobile guy, but yeah, even if it's a non-auto thing, because I'm trying to explore that side of things as well. So let's see. So I would love to be a part of it.
I'm going to book you for the next interview session right after the session today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, because it was lovely having you.
Thank you so much.